Welcome back to the Junkman. It's me, Junkman, coming back at you with another video. And today we're going to look at Playmates' new Star Trek line. That's right, after 12 years, Playmates is back doing Star Trek figures. Now, I grew older in my 20s in the 90s collecting Star Trek Playmate figures. I love this line. It was probably my favorite next to the Star Wars line of the 90s. I love the Playmate figures, and I was really excited when I heard after 12 years, Playmates was getting Star Trek back, and I had hopes for it, that they would do some kind of retro line, and it looks like they're keeping it kind of retro with a more of a newer spin on it also. So we're going to now look at the figures that are coming out, and it's not just figures, they have other things coming out also, so let's take a look. The figures are scheduled to be available online in July 2022, with them hitting stores in the fall. Additional figures will be added to the line in early 2023. The figures will be 5 inches tall and 14 points of articulation. So let's look at the classic figures first from Star Trek Wrath of Khan. Here we have, of course, Khan, and in the middle we have James T. Kirk, and over on the end we have Spock. I'll be honest, I'm not 100% sold on these, and I'm hoping these photos are more like a early prototype, and they look a little different when released. Khan looks like his neck doesn't move, but I hope it does. It just looks like it doesn't from looking at the figure. Kirk just looks a little too young to be based on the movie Kirk. And Spock, although it looks pretty good, look at his hand. It looks like his hand is really long. Is it just me? Even Kirk's hand looks a little odd. Now, not only are you getting the Wrath of Khan, you're getting 2 figures based on Star Trek Discovery. Now, I'm not going to sit here and bash on Star Trek Discovery. I'll be honest, I saw like 3 of them. It just didn't feel like Star Trek. I couldn't get into it. But I guess it has a lot of fans out there being there keep doing the series. And they're releasing only 2 figures from it, which might be kind of telling. And some people have asked me, why are they even doing Star Trek Discovery? The fan don't want them, the fan wants the old stuff. Well, I'm not going to say if the fans want it or fans don't. I'm sure there's some fans that do. But if you look at like the Star Trek Mego, they did classic line, Next Generation, and then threw in Discovery. It's very common for these owners of the property to say, hey, if you want the license to do merchandise for our toys, not only do you get the old stuff like you want, you got to carry the new stuff too. So I'm pretty sure that's what happened here. It was like, hey, you want Next Generation? You want the old series? You're going to have to release some from Discovery or the newer stuff also. After all, the companies want to promote the new stuff. Now, the figures from the newer series are packaged in what they're calling universe packaging. They say it's a newly designed Star Trek blaster card showing the character on the card. Now let's look at my 3 favorite ones, the Next Generation, as I'm a big Next Generation fan. But honestly, I'm not really happy with these either, but I'm hoping they look better when released. We've got Riker on the end down there. Doesn't look too bad. We've got Picard in the middle. Probably the best looking one out of all of these. But Data just doesn't look right to me. The face just doesn't look like the likeness it should. It just has something missing. And I really don't like figures with what I guess is a ball joint. It's that section of the leg and the hip where it connects. Never like figures like that. But at least if they do a play set, you won't get that wide sitting like you did with the original figures. Now, the Next Generation figures and the Wrath of Khan figures are going to be released in 90s style nostalgia packaging. They didn't release any images of the packaging, and I can't wait to see that. But I'm guessing they're going to stick with that 90s look. Also being released, something I bet Captain Foley's going to get, the original series Enterprise. This 18-inch scale of the ship features lights, sounds, and phrases, and will also be released in that 90s nostalgia packaging. This is a great looking ship here, and although I would probably more likely buy the Next Generation ship, this is a great ship, and let's be honest, although I love Next Generation, the original Enterprise ship is more iconic. And they're also going to release a Star Trek Original Series Phaser. Now, I had one of these in the 90s, and this one looks almost exactly like the one in the 90s, and I lost mine. And it always bummed me out that I didn't have it anymore. I don't know what happened to it, so I might pick this one up. It's going to have nostalgia packaging also, and if it's anything like the one in the 90s, the details and everything are really good with it. In fact, they might have enhanced it since the 90s, and this one might even be better. Well, that's a look at the Playmates Star Trek figures about to get released, and I'm curious how they're going to look in the package, if I'm going to pick these up or not. I'm not sure yet. I have to see the price point and how they look in the package. I'll at least, if I pick up any, get the Next Generation ones. There's 8 figures, but I hope we get more than 8 next year. I hate to think we're only going to get 8 a year because it's going to take forever to get the full crew of the Next Generation or the Classic Series. So I wish instead of 8, maybe they bumped it to like 12 or something and gave us a few more figures. Maybe throw in some Deep Space Nine or Voyager. But we get what we get, right? But I'm curious what you guys think. Are you planning to pick any of these up? Do you like them? Do you think they look better than the 90s Playmates figures? Tell me that and more in the comments below. And until the next video, I'm not saying you like my content. Subscribe to the channel. We'll talk again soon.
Hey, Junkman channel popping though.
Thank you, sir, for that unsolicited testimony.